enthusiasts across America, I'm Andrew Turnbull, and this is IHA Live. Tonight, we welcome IHA professional Sarah Barton of Northeastern Wyoming to talk about horses and highest selves, aligning mind, body, and spirit through yoga and horsemanship. Embracing the moving meditation aspects of horsemanship and yoga has been transformative for Sarah, our guest tonight. By bringing tools like mindfulness and breath and body awareness to the way she teaches, trains, and lives, Sarah aims to intentionally cultivate the highest and best aspects of herself, her students, and her horses. Through her business, Flat Broke Performance Horses, Sarah has been teaching horsemanship, offering lessons and clinics on liberty and positive reinforcement, yoga and horsemanship, ranch horsemanship and cattle work, and classical in hand. This evening, Sarah will be focusing on the theory and practice of blending yoga and horsemanship, as well as short breath work and seated yoga practice. Through unlocking potential through mindful horsemanship, we can bring together our highest selves and our horses and our horsemanship. I would like to welcome Sarah in Wyoming. Hello.
Hi, Andrew. Thank you. And thank you for that introduction.
Wonderful.
Well, thanks to everybody that came out tonight. Sounds like we've got people from all over, and it's really exciting. I'm glad you're all here, and I can't wait to share this stuff with everybody. Again, tonight we're going to talk about how we can align ourselves, our bodies, minds, and spirits in our horsemanship. So let's start out with why yoga and horsemanship work so well together. And it's especially appropriate for this group of people because we're all interested in relationship-based horsemanship. And we all have a goal of achieving a sense of oneness with our horses in our work. And so yoga is an ancient Indian practice for self-development, for the linking of body and mind, and the cultivation of spiritual awareness. So with the yoga practice, we can practice connecting to ourselves, better knowing and understanding our physical selves, our mental state and our mind, and our emotional selves. And the better we know ourselves, the better we can be fully present. And I believe any relationship-based horsemanship included, is predicated by presence. So yoga gives us a very concrete tool to practice and cultivate full body awareness and mental emotional presence with our horses.
So I do have a question already, and we talked about this in the prep. But yoga to me was always, can I touch my toes? This is a bunch of stretching and all these kind of things. And when you told me that yoga means connecting of body and mind, which is, I think, the yoking is the connection of body mind, and that it wasn't necessarily, spending a half hour or an hour of stretching, but yet this description really got my attention. Yoga, yoking of body mind, beautiful path to oneness, and within ourselves and our horsemanship. And I've got big consciousness right now around processes that we can use to be present and in the moment. I'm seeing this in several different forums where I'm operating, and I'm very excited tonight because my understanding is this yoking of body mind is going to give us a real process that we can use to show up for our horse. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And full disclosure, I came to yoga because I wanted the physical benefits. I wanted them as a rider, as a horse person, but I was struggling with symmetry in my riding. I found it was very one-sided, and I couldn't get my horse as symmetrical, and able to do movements and leads and things as consistently on both sides. So I really did come to yoga because I knew it would improve my physical strength and symmetry. And I've been practicing for 15 or 20 years now, and I am probably a better rider now than I was when I began. But what I've found along the way are these other benefits of yoga. And the more I've studied yoga, the more I've realized that in the yogic tradition, we really stretch the body and activate the body's energy centers, free stuck energy, connect with the breath and quiet the mind so that we can prepare ourselves for meditation. So I've really kind of evolved in my understanding of yoga.
Wonderful.
Just a couple of beautiful moments with horses I chose to share here. And I think, these moments of bliss are what keeps all of us coming back to our horses, right? I mean, horses are a lot of work, and inevitably in horsemanship, we find resistance and we find moments of stress and fatigue and frustration, but these moments are the moments that keep us coming back. And I feel that yoga and meditation are both tools that can help us cultivate more of these peaceful moments of connection. A little yoga terminology for us tonight. Yoga uses asanas, or the physical postures, and pranayama, the breath work, to yoke the body and mind and cultivate presence. And yoga practices usually begin and conclude with the yoga greeting, namaste. This comes from the Sanskrit and translates to the divinity within me recognizes and honors the divinity within you. And I think there's a lot to unpack for our horsemanship in that one simple word. If you were to approach yourself as you work with your horse as a divine being or divinely inspired being, and give yourself the grace and compassion that you might not always give yourself. I've found that self-compassion is one of the greatest tools in our toolbox for maintaining calm when we do run up against frustration, when our horses don't necessarily give us what we were hoping. When we struggle, if we can stay in a place of self-love and patience and self-compassion, it really shifts everything and opens a world of possibility. And of course, if you follow that up with the thought that perhaps your horse is also divinely inspired, I think that really shapes our expectations of what our relationship with a horse can be. And we may look for the lessons that they offer us and the possibilities that maybe resistance gives us to grow. I know I have grown as a horsewoman more from the difficult horses than from the easy horses. And sometimes it's really hard to see that divine spark when you're running up against a lot of resistance. But I just think it's a really powerful perspective to take with us into our horsemanship. Again, just another couple of beautiful moments of connection, peace, that divine spark in our relationship with horses. And this particular mare in these photos is one of those difficult horses. If anybody read the article that I wrote for the IHA journal, this is Jeannie. She is a very hot-blooded little cow horse mare, incredibly capable, but very easily brought to a little bit of physical tension. So kind of a difficult horse to show well. I was really finishing my training with Jeannie and beginning to show her a little bit as I was coming to these tools and concepts. And there were moments when I really could calm myself and quiet my mind, quiet my ego, and bring myself to a place where I could keep her calm, even in the stress of the show ring. And yeah, she taught me a lot, and I still have her. Concrete benefits of yoga. Physical benefits have been proven and documented in Western medicine science in the last several decades. Everything from decreased, blood sugar and blood pressure, improved respiration and circulation, and improved, of course, flexibility. But the physical benefits of a regular yoga practice are immense. For us riders, it improves your strength. It improves your core strength. It improves the symmetry and, you know, your ability to use your aids equally, your ability to get on and off your horse both sides. You know, we need to be fairly fit to ride and stay safe. And, you know, in case of something happening, you can often rebalance your horse if you're a fairly good rider. And, you know, I said earlier that I'm a better rider now than maybe I was 15 or 20 years ago. And I have, you know, in the past, as a teenager, especially as I started to get quite confident in my riding, more than once I had a horse fall with me going really hard and fast after cattle. And I know I was partly to blame. You know, I was out of balance, and I didn't feel my horse. I didn't feel that they were out of balance. And, you know, as I've become more aware of my body, I have been able to help my horses and have not had anything like that happen, you know, for years. And I still do some pretty extreme things with my horses. On the left here, you see this wonderful mare, Robin. We're doing ski joring there. My husband, Tony, is being dragged behind us. And below, here's Jeannie at the World Finals of the Extreme Cowboy Race, which we did the whole race bareback. And we were the only ones who did that.
Oh, right on. That's beautiful. Both of those are beautiful.
Oh, horses are so fun. They let us do so many things we can't do. A little more background about myself. I grew up on a ranch in the northeast corner of Wyoming in the beautiful Black Hills near Devil's Tower. I grew up surrounded by my family and all kinds of animals. Horses especially were my constant companions, my working partners, teachers, and friends. And my husband and I, we've been living about an hour away from the ranch, but we just bought a property about 10 minutes from the ranch. And we've got an indoor arena where I'm growing my business, and we've just built a house where we're growing our family. And I'm really pleased to be able to offer my kids some of the same experiences that I had growing up, being with horses and cows and dogs and cats. Here's just a beautiful shot from the ranch. This is a fell pony mare that
A fell pony. I was going to ask you the breed because that's a beautiful horse.
She's a wonderful horse. It's a breed we're just learning about, but we were lucky enough to find a local breeder and get one. My dad actually just retired. He's worked in town most of his life at a tractor dealership. But now that he's retired, he needed a horse, and she's just the horse for the job. Easy to get on, sure-footed, great disposition. This is Royal, and we just love her.
Wonderful.
A couple more shots of my parents. This is my mom on Robin. You can see the harmony of partnership in this picture. This is one of my favorite pictures. My mom also does yoga, and I learned a lot of my horsemanship from my mom. A couple of action shots, mom and Robin and dad and Royal. These are all pictures of moving the baby cow the moms and the young calves out of the calving pasture and into kind of the next step up out on the creek. And they go out and get a little more freedom, learn to live out with the herd. My business is called Flat Broke Performance Horses. It is an evolving entity. I started out breeding colts and training them and selling them. I had a handful of good mares, and it was my intention to raise horses who were honest enough to ranch on and fancy enough to show. However, I've really stopped raising colts, except one or two for myself. I found that my passion is really helping people develop their skills and the horses that they have, and people who don't have horses, letting them use my horses to discover the joys of horsemanship. I believe in unlocking potential through mindful horsemanship.
You know, before you go on, that's a really important thing that it's difficult for me to find around here somebody that offers the beginning horse as well as the relationship-based horsemanship. And so I think that's a unique value proposition you're offering, where somebody who doesn't have a horse can enter into this amazing field, and we're just hearing all these stories about people don't know how to get in, and the next thing you know, it's not working for them. But relationship-based horsemanship, starting from the ground up, and I see that wonderful picture of the kids over there. I'm guessing they don't have horses unless those are your kids, right?
The one on the right is Zinnia, but yes, these girls are all a part of my summer lesson program, well, last year's lessons, and they are all beginners. I had beginners from age 6 to 13.
Wonderful.
And we had a wonderful time, and I'll be offering that program again this summer. And I have quite a few beginner adults too, and I have a few adults who rode as kids and don't currently have horses, and it may have been 30 years since they've been horseback, but they come to me and we start again, and maybe they learn some nuances that they never had in their early years with horses. So it's something
I just want to compliment you. I'm really pleased to see you're offering the opportunity for the horseless rider to find their way into relationship-based horsemanship. Thank you.
Oh, I love it. I love to share this stuff with people.
We have a question already. I'm sorry. I'm going to ask you really quick. Do you weave yoga into all of your lessons and clinics?
I do. Everybody who comes to my barn gets a little yoga, whether you're 6 years old and horse crazy, or you might be a crusty old cowboy, but we'll probably do a little breath work and some body awareness. And everybody gets a little bit of yoga or a lot.
Awesome.
This is another one of my special students. This is Allie. She just joined the IHA. She's working on her ground skills, grade 1. This little mare is such a success story of helping a horse feel good in their body, right? This mare came from an unknown background with a lot of physical issues, pretty emotionally shut down, mentally very reactive. Through patience and perseverance and using the tools of yoga, as well as you'll see there on the left, she's got a target stick and a clicker and a treat pouch. And Allie has really applied herself to understanding herself and her horse, and she's really helped this little mare heal. You see here on the right, she's happy and confident under saddle. And these are some of the changes I love to help people make in their own horses.
That's great. Yeah, I love the look on the face of everybody on that picture, including the horse.
I do too. And that mare was one of the most difficult horses I've met. I'm not sure what happened to her in the past, but she definitely has seen some things. So it's pretty amazing to see how she's changed. I'd like to point out that yoga and mindfulness and self-compassion are all things that I sought out because I was struggling. I think there's kind of a misconception that anybody who does yoga or meditates must be, really enlightened and really flexible. But I came to these practices because I was struggling. Physically as a rider, like I said, I wasn't getting the results I wanted, but mentally and emotionally, I was struggling too. I was pretty stressed out and burned out. I didn't have a lot of self-compassion. I felt like if I wasn't stressed, I wasn't trying. And it took working through some of the stuff, just the simple practice of it and exposing myself to these ideas again and again. And also truly becoming a parent was a big change for me and made me start to wonder, who do I want to be and who do I want to teach my kids to be? And some of the more mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects of these practices started to resonate more when I was pregnant and knew that I was going to be a mom about 10 years ago. I also have chronic health issues. I have thyroid issues, and I've struggled with the physical and mental health struggles of that. The low energy, fatigue, brain fog, depression. And all of these things have taught me that, we have to work to fill our cups. And for me, yoga is especially gentle and life affirming. And so whatever your story, you know, everybody here tonight has their own path to walk, and whether you've got health issues or maybe a history of an injury or something, don't let it stand between you and maybe trying some of these practices.
Sarah, I saw a thank you come on the chat, and it was when you began to be vulnerable with us and authentic. And one of the things I love about IHA Live is this is a place to do that. And so we really appreciate you really letting us know, you know, in bringing inside what's going on that brought you to choose this approach. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. And it's all true. This picture here is actually from where I first started teaching yoga. I had been practicing for quite a while, but I wasn't explicitly teaching it with my horsemanship at this point. But I was asked by a friend to teach at a rehab and recovery center. And so I started teaching a free class one night a week. And it was just a really beautiful experience. You know, I felt it resonated with a lot of people who are in a time of transition and personal struggle and growth. And just have everybody come in whatever tired, stress, full of self-judgment kind of mood they came in, and we would do yoga for about an hour. And by the time everybody went home for the evening, you know, the energy had completely changed, and people were coming out of their shells, and everybody's posture had changed. And it was just a really powerful experience. And I knew at that time that I wanted to start teaching this stuff with my horsemanship as well. A couple of pictures of parenthood. On the left, I've got baby Colt at about 4 months old, and introducing him to one of my fillies I raised. And there on the right, there he is, helping with evening chores, exercising, Flicker. And Andrew, this is the navicular mare I told you we have, who still does light lessons.
Yeah. And the good news is that the horse can still have a job, despite the fact that it's not 100% sound, and carrying a child is probably reasonable, right?
Right. And meeting her where
Wonderful.
she's at, right? That gentle approach to helping her strengthen the body she has.
I love it.
Couple more kid pictures, and my wonderful husband there on the left, that's Tony, and the cats are Flaying and Candy Corn. And
wonderful. You have two Boyd cats. My Boyd cat actually wanted to cross the camera, but the camera's a little higher today. She usually comes on, but I have a solid black Boyd too. They're wonderful.
They are
cool.
Wonderful. We love these cats. Here on the top right, anybody who read the IHA article about Gumdrop Rainbow Lightning Barton, this is the famous Gumdrop. And here on the bottom right is Colt riding Cat, and this is a 3-year-old filly that he's been training with my help and using the grades of horsemanship. So.
And how old is he now?
Colt is 9, will be 10 in July.
Wonderful. So I just heard a 9 and 10-year-old is training a horse. That's really great to see.
It's been a really fun project. And we did use a lot of the grades of horsemanship ground skills, just because I didn't want to put him on her before she was ready. I didn't want either one of them to have a bad experience. So we built a really strong foundation and did a ton of prep work.
Wonderful.
So let's close out the theory portion of this, coming full circle. I know, Andrew, you and I talked a lot about the idea of the revolution in natural horsemanship. And I would just like to put forward the idea that this version of horsemanship, what I'm calling somatic horsemanship, soma meaning of the body, but that this may be one of the next chapters in this horsemanship revolution.
I think so. Yeah.
To me,
absolutely.
You know, horsemanship that focuses on helping horses and humans feel better in their bodies, more energized and aware, is the future of horsemanship. I'd say that master horsemen have known this intuitively, and we call it feel sometimes, but I think that we're becoming more cognizant of how we can all get there, and the tools that we can use to help us. And yoga and meditation are some of those tools. The last little piece of this slide says, movement is medicine. Consider horseboy method, an equine assisted therapy modality developed for autism using classical dressage. And this is a equine assisted therapy that I'm certified in. And I was really drawn to it because of the classical dressage component and the idea that we build up the horse physically to be prepared to do the job of the therapy work. And here in this photo, you see me riding double with Zinnia. My horse is in self-carriage. He's giving us a nice rhythmical trot. And, in the methodology of this therapy, and this is clinically proven, we're rocking our hips. This motion is moving up the spine. There's a whole neurochemical cascade happening where oxytocin is released, cortisol is decreased, and there are measurable positive changes in brain chemistry occurring from a really great ride. And I would guess that most people on this call have probably had one of those rides that just make you feel awesome.
Well, it's interesting. I am turned to page 38 of the IHA Live from Fall Winter 2021. And in it, you say that The Horse Boy is a movie about an autistic boy and his family's horse-centered healing journey. Yes, and so that was part of what struck you to actually want to follow the method. Can you talk more about that inspiration?
Absolutely. I just grabbed a video off the shelf at our local library. I had no idea it was a documentary. I actually thought it was a kind of a feel-good horse movie. I had small children and I saw it on the way out, grabbed it, checked it out, got home and watched it, and was just blown away. It is a documentary, and it documents the story of a family whose boy is diagnosed, I think, around 3 years old as autistic. He's stopped hitting his developmental benchmarks and milestones, and has almost seemed to regress. He's tantruming, he's nonverbal, he's not toilet training, and they're really, really struggling. And they had tried some traditional approaches to therapy, and nothing was really working or resonating with them. And so the father is a horse trainer, and the boy was constantly drawn to the horses, and they were worried about safety issues, of course, and tried to kind of keep him away from the horses, but he would find his way even into the neighbor's pasture and find the horses. So finally, his father said, all right, we're going to do horses. And he started to ride with him in the same position I'm riding with Zinnia, riding double behind him. And he'd put him on the horse and go forward, and his tantrums would stop. And he could start. Nice. He could start to speak to him about the world, and he'd say, that's an oak tree, O-A-K, oak. Ah, look, a stop sign, S-T-O-P. And they started to actually begin to develop language skills, horseback. And today, that young man is a teenager. He drives, he flies internationally. He's up to grade level and beyond. It's been an incredible healing journey for him and his family. And they've taken what they learned and made it into an entire methodology. And they've worked with the University of Texas to, like I said, document some of the neurochemical aspects and what's happening and why it's working.
Well, and thank you bringing that to our attention, because I had not heard of the Horse Boy movie nor the method. And, people who are familiar with me were very passionate about equine assisted therapy and what it's doing for so many different people. We have a specific program on the Pirelli Foundation for that. And we want to make sure that natural and relationship-based horsemanship is made available to the equine assisted therapy places so that they can really deliver their mission better. But here you are taking it a step further. You actually went out and learned one of the methods that you could apply. And this is another tool that somebody could use to help in equine assisted therapy. Am I playing that back right?
Absolutely. And I just think it's so beautiful, that we can help our horses feel better in their bodies, and they are absolutely capable of helping us heal and, learn to live in our bodies. So beautiful
Wonderful.
reciprocity. And just a couple more shots of somatic horsemanship. On the left, you see an image. This is actually an equine body worker, but I just wanted to point out, people in the field, and I believe a lot of probably IHA practitioners, doing body work and so forth, helping horses feel better in their bodies. On the right, you see another one of my clients, and she told me that she would never sit this horse's trot. He is an Andalusian Belgian with a gigantic trot. And here you see the smile on her face. You see him stepping far underneath his point of mass, actively engaged, carrying her, helping each other feel good in their bodies. So this is just a moment of what I do and something I love to see in my teaching in my clinics.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Here's a little plug for IHA.
There's our logo. Wonderful.
And I am so happy to be a part of the IHA, and I can't wait to see where this path leads. And I love what it represents and this chapter in the revolution in horsemanship.
Indeed. And is that's the same horse that you're riding there?
The fell pony, yeah.
That's the fell pony. Okay.
Yeah,
so fell ponies aren't so pony, are they?
She's a good sized pony, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She looks pretty big from there.
This is another one here. This is another fell pony here, actually.
Wonderful.
So let's go ahead and play with some of this stuff this evening. I've got some explorations for us, some breath work practice, and a short yoga practice. Do we want to take any more questions, or do you want to go into the breath work?
I think I don't see any other questions, and people are all welcome to do it. Oh, there's a question that says, oh, somebody's helping me with fell ponies here. Fell ponies can only be 14 hands high to be a registered fell pony. Okay, so thank you. That makes it clear that not as big as I thought in the picture. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's do some applied. I love it.
Okay. All right. So everybody go ahead and kind of wiggle around if you started to get settled into your chair. Put your feet flat on the floor. Place your hands on your thighs. And let's go ahead and check in with our breath. In fact, in this first exploration, we're going to use our hands. We're going to explore what I call balloon versus bellows breathing. So when I say balloon breathing, what I'm talking about is chest breathing, what we do when we're tense. So go ahead and just kind of imagine that feeling when you're stressed, and when you're taking those little shallow breaths, and maybe even take your hand and place it on your chest and kind of feel the slight expansion when you breathe into your chest, and also feel the effort involved in this type of breathing. It really takes some force to get the air down into your lungs. So the opposite of this is what I call bellows breathing. And anybody who maybe has seen an old blacksmith or has ever stoked a fire with a set of bellows, it's a tool with handles, and you open it and the belly of the bellows fills with air. You compress the handles and it squeezes all the air out. Mm-hmm. So we've got a mechanism in our bodies to kind of have this same effect in our breathing, our diaphragm. The diaphragm is a mushroom-shaped muscle that rests right under the lungs and ties into the lower back. And when it's activated, the diaphragm drops and the lungs, just like a bellows, fill with air. So go ahead and place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Exhale, hold air out. And now allow the belly to soften and fill your lungs with air. And we'll do the same thing one more time, really squeezing all the old air out. And pause, 2, 3, soften the belly and allow effortless, buoyant, expansive breath. And I want everybody just to take a couple rounds of this And in this practice, it is the pause that's important because we're resetting the diaphragmic reflex. So just go ahead and take a few more rotations in your own time. This is actually one of the breath practices I teach my youngest students. And when I teach them, I have them imagine they're blowing out the birthday candles on a cake and really.
Ah.
And then I'll ask
So
them, what's your favorite smell? And on the inhale, we breathe in our favorite smell. Another way to kind of trigger some of these sensations and feelings.
well, and since you're with a horse, there's your favorite smell right there.
None of my kids have said horses are their favorite smell.
Ah.
I've gotten pancakes, donuts, cookies, flowers. Okay, and let's move on to add another layer. And I don't see my screen anymore. Do you guys, is my screen hidden?
Well, you can take back the screen with the two of us are together right now on the,
well,
yeah.
Anybody wants to take a screenshot of the breathwork practices as a reminder, let me know and I'll bring it back up. But we're going to move on to the second one, which is called the heart rate breathing. And this is from the heart math method. So when you breathe in, your heart rate actually rises a little bit. And as you exhale, your heart rate diminishes a little bit. So you get this heart rate variability, right? The variability between the upper range and the lower limits of your heart rate. And so by timing our breath a certain way, we can optimize our heart rate variability. So if you mapped it, it would actually look like a gentle wave. So we're going to breathe in to the count of 4 and out to the count of 6. Go ahead and breathe all the old air out. And breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I've been playing with this one a lot lately. I find that naturally I tend to take maybe quick, shallow breaths, and this really challenges me to fill the lungs on the exhale and control and extend, fill the lungs on the inhale and control and extend that exhale. And it takes some mindfulness, some intention for me. But I really think I've already felt a sort of shift in my sense of well-being, maybe anxiety management. This talk has been really not anxiety producing, but something I've been thinking about a lot. And I've just come back to my breath, and I just feel like I can really reset and center and calm myself. So I'm really excited to share that one with you guys tonight.
Well, and Sarah, in another place, I do a lot of meetings. I'm involved in a lot of projects, but inevitably there's a frustration that can come either, things aren't going as well as you want, or somebody's not, getting along. And so I've noticed that when my energy comes up and perhaps it's negative energy, people say, hey, stop and take a deep breath, right? But what you're offering us then is a way to properly stop and take that deep breath, because if you bring it up into here, right, then that's not going to be as effective as going deep. Am I hearing that right?
Yeah, you could be raising your heart rate. You could be raising your stress hormones. By proper breathing, you can actually control some of the physiological, stress responses of your body and bring yourself to a healthier, calmer state.
Wonderful. And then when we were on the pre, when we were working together, didn't you say something about somebody actually breathing from the chest, with a horse, and the horse didn't get on so well with them, but when they breathed from the
horses respond instantly to this stuff. I've started incorporating the breath work into so many, kind of defusing situations. When I run into a horse who's starting to tense, When I find that, I'm asking too much or the environment is asking them more than they're ready to give, if I tap into my breath and calm myself, horses are a social prey animal. They are genetically and evolutionarily inclined to regulate themselves to match the energy of the herd, or of
Mhm.
course energy, to sense the energy of a predator. So they are absolutely designed for this sort of thing. There are indications that they have resonance receptors in their gut, that they are so attuned to their environment that they can feel your state in their belly. And there's also science on mirror neurons coming out that shows that most animals, maybe all mammals at least, have mirror neurons, which mirror the state of the organisms around them. So if you can calmly and confidently put yourself in that state of deep relaxation, you can unwind a lot of tense situations with horses.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I love it. Hey, I got a couple of questions. Let me just toss them in before we move on. Um, I was wondering how you teach yoga to kids and, some of those neat ideas. And then, what is your best tip for transferring the mindfulness and focus into our horsemanship? Those are the two questions.
So with kids, we keep it fun. Um, like for the breathwork example, I use the blow out the birthday cakes and breathe in your favorite smell. Um, and we do talk about the whys of it. I talk to them about horses are prey animals, and it's easy for your horse to get scared, and they need a leader who reminds them to stay calm. And my kids both do yoga. There are some amazing YouTube yoga channels, and there's a really fun one called Cosmic Kids Yoga.
Ah,
She does all kinds of playful interpretations of classic yoga poses. So there's a whole really fun kids vocabulary for teaching actual yoga practices.
I love it.
In response to the other question, I would have to say that it is absolutely probably the focus on the breath is my best tool for mindfulness, because it's my most tangible way to quiet my mind. And when I find that my thoughts are racing, when I find that I'm fixating, when I find that I'm distracted, if I come back to the focus on my breath, my mind quiets, things become more clear. I'm more able to see the solutions to the problems.
Absolutely. And I'm very excited about this tonight. I'm going to say it again. And that's because having an applied approach to come to this state of being in the moment with a horse is huge. And the more toolbox that we have in that area, the better off. And I do want to go back to something for a minute because it just came to me. You talked about feel. And I think I've talked about this in a live before, that I once went to a Western States Horse Expo, and there was a very well-known, it was not a relationship-based, not a natural horsemanship clinician. And this person kept defining feel as having feel. I mean, this person could not get across what it meant to feel. And I think it was because this clinician, which I'm not going to even indicate their gender, just could not get it across to us. And I think there was a little frustration in the audience because the emphasis was so much on feel, but there was no how. And this is definitely what I'm sensing. And you're showing us the results in the photos. You're showing us the results, and we have people on the call that are your students. They're here for a reason, and that's because you've managed to give them a how to go with the idea of connecting mind and body on behalf of your horse.
Yeah, it is exactly that. It's a tool. It's an actual practical approach, and it gets us closer to where we want to be. I remember, after we were talking about Pirelli and Pirelli inspired schools of horsemanship, I remembered, probably 12 or 15 years ago, I was reading Pat's Western Horseman book.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote, everything begins in your mind, and then it goes down through your body, through your legs, and down to your feet. And at that time, I thought, well, I mean, I'm getting a lot of the technical part's right. I know how to use my aids, and I'm still not getting the beauty and the harmony. So that means if he's right, then that piece is missing in my mind, and how in the world do I bring those pieces in, right? So I do believe that yoga and meditation, mindfulness practice all offer us tools to cultivate, our minds, our emotional fitness, and help us embody really what we want in our horsemanship. And when we embody it, then our horses will just come be there for us, and they'll embody it too.
Yeah, and there's two things that came up for me when you said that. One, as we've learned, that I've been following Pat and Linda and their professionals, and now the relationship-based folks that may or may not still be with that organization, because of all of this great inspiration and the adult learning program. But one of the things Pat says is sometimes he'll say something, and it takes you 5 or 10 years before it finally fits. And it's been true, because sometimes I hear the same Pat Pirelli telling that same patter that he likes to say, and then I like, oh wait, now I understand after all these years what that is. And so your mind connecting to the body, all to the feet, that's an example of that.
Wow.
And then the other one is this really having an approach. And I think you and I talked about the fact that we can get really good with having a set of steps that we can follow to get the horse to do something, but we don't always have a way to have ourselves be in the mindset to also possibly even listen to what the horse might want to offer us. Absolutely. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so have you noticed when you have approached, you brought this to it, that have you been more in touch with listening to your horse as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Do you have any more applied things that you want to show us, or are we?
I do. I've got 2 more. So let's pick
awesome.
up. We've done the balloons versus bellows breathing, and we've thought about kind of intentionally controlling our heart rate and bringing ourselves into that really profound state of well-being. So I'd like to invite you to add another layer, and this is a tool of yoga called a mantra. A mantra is a word or a phrase that you repeat throughout the practice, or maybe throughout the course of the day. And again, it's a way to focus the mind, to reduce mind chatter, and to bring clarity to your intention. And the mantra I'd like to offer tonight is so hum. So meaning it is, and or I am, and hum meaning one with everything. So bring an intention of oneness again. I am one with all that is.
I love it.
We'll go ahead and say so on the inhale.
So as I'm inhaling, I say so.
You can think it's because we're inhaling, but you can say hum on the exhale.
I got it.
So we'll take a couple of rounds of that in our own time. So this one is, again, one that's really been resonating with me lately. When I find myself feeling flustered or distracted, and I just start to meditate on this, tie my breath with it, bring that intention of oneness. I think it's a really powerful mantra, and I invite you all to take it with you this evening. And we're going to go ahead.
So I got a couple of good questions here. One came in that says, I think we aren't often taught how to feel or even really be in our own bodies. And if we can't do that, we cannot be in harmony with our horses. And Pon gave us that one. Thank you. And then one of the questions that came up was, how do you say so on inhale? Can you demo it again? And so what I was doing is thinking so on the in, and you kind of, maybe I said it just before I started, and then I was hum on the out. So let me do it again, which was.
And that's so. You can't say much while you're inhaling, but To me, almost the inhale through the nostrils and just attaching the sound in your mind. So, and hum with maybe pressing the lips together and allowing the vibration of the hum to really fill your consciousness on the exhale. So let's go ahead and take a couple of more rounds of that.
Yeah.
Just mentally. So breathing in through the nose and hum on the exhale.
You know, I'm noticing that it's getting deeper and seems to be expanding within me
Yes.
as I do this over and over. That's cool. What would you suggest for the beginner about how many times it would make sense?
I don't think you can overdo it. I think 5 or 10 times is a great way to quiet the mind and get, again, probably some of the same physiological benefits that you're going to get from the heart rate breathing, as you find your rhythm and steady the systems of your body. But I was reading about this as I chose the mantra, and there's a lot of belief and practice behind these mantras, and people have been using them for thousands of years. And if you believe in energy and energetic connection, there's a lot of power in those words. And the more you use them, the more you resonate every fiber of your being, every energy system in your body with these thoughts, with all the people who have practiced these with this intention over the years. I believe you're tapping into cosmic power.
Oh, absolutely. And uh, I'm practicing my French. Nathalie from Quebec says it helps to go from mindset to heart set. And I think that's really well said. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really physically, when I got to about the fourth or fifth one that I'd done, all of a sudden, like my whole body felt like it was all being filled with that air. And then, and I have been doing some work around mindset and connection to the universe and that kind of thing. So a little bit woo woo, but I'm discovering that there's not really woo woo, really a lot of truth to it, and it's very powerful.
It's out there, and it's sometimes makes us question our assumptions about what we know. But I feel like science is supporting so much of the woo woo, and I love the woo woo horsemanship. I'm proud to be part of it.
So I'm going to read this one live because when it comes from Dr. Jill, she always has insight and she's so positive. So it's Sarah, thanks so much for enlarging my view of how to be mindful when I'm with my horse. Would you consider offering a course on the IHA Academy so that we may learn more about being mindful as we practice our horsemanship and also learn more yoga to help us along the way? So we're literally inviting you.
I would love to.
Yeah, to do that. And yeah, we could have, you could conduct sessions, and that's one of the wonderful things that the IHA has brought and is working on really bringing to the market, which is the academy, which is a learning management system that allows each individual instructor to be able to post their videos and to run a class just like a college professor. My wife uses these all the time, or she did when she was being a professor before she became a dean. But the point is that this tool is now available to the professionals who join IHA, and that's you. So let's really bring this to the revolution. I love it. Thank you for the idea, Jill. You're always that must be why she's the vice president. Great.
Okay.
Okay. So you had another method. Do you have another method? Yeah.
One more layer.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and settle back into our bodies, feet flat on the floor, and hands on your thighs. And this time we'll go ahead and close our eyes. This breath work, we're going to add a visualization layer. And you can do this with your eyes open, but I feel like simply closing the eyes quiets the stream of information coming into the brain and into the mind. So go ahead and softly close the eyes, and we'll go ahead and exhale completely. And on the inhale, we're going to imagine light filling our heart center, filling our lungs. Breathe in light and love. And on the exhale, radiate light and love. And I'm going to let you guys take a couple rounds in your own time, breathing it in and out.
Well, it was 5 for me, and I could really feel it. Yeah,
It's
beautiful.
I really enjoy, and I used it the other day on a fairly difficult horse.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit about Hoi Yan. He's a Andalusian from Mexico, bullfighting bred horse, and I don't know a lot about his early years, but I do know he is a lot like a Lamborghini with a sticky throttle.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
lot of horse. He's a lot of fun, but he's very easy to get wound up on the muscle, heavy on the forehand, rushing. And I've been trying to soften him in his canter work. And the other day I was using this breath work while I rode, and I actually call it my ET breathing because I visualize like the glowing red kind of ET.
Oh, yeah, the heart of ET, sure.
And
yeah,
then
the heart, yeah.
Realize, extending that love right to his heart, through the top of his neck, through this, through his shoulders and into his heart on the exhale, and breathing the light into my heart on the inhale, and breathing to him on the exhale. And I was able to soften him and quiet his tempo and keep his energy low and do a little canter work. And so,
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah. Ever since for Sonny and I, he's 26, a left brain extrovert, loves to play, and even at 26, he can still levitate whenever he wants. People think he's half his age. My ability to show up for him now and be in the moment and be present, and you're offering me yet another tool for my toolbox to do it, has just been transformational for my relationship with him. And we're going to have David Lichman and Jennifer Zillig, who teach us in a future IHA Live, which will just offer us just more tools. But this is fabulous tonight, and it is timely, that you're here. And a couple of comments. Another thank you so much to Sarah. And Sarah, we love the ET heart visualization, so that's great. So, did you have another level that you want to take us to here?
Those are the breath works,
okay.
I bring tonight. Again, we can go back to that slide if anybody wants to take a screenshot or anything, just to take them with. And I invite you guys to take whichever resonated with you and play with it with your horse next time and see what happens.
Well, wonderful. But before we move on, I had, and of course, I'm very near and dear to this particular version because this is my wife, and we interviewed her for an IHA Live. But you have there's a focus on you on the professional IHA professional profile with you, Sarah, and a lot of the pictures that we saw tonight are here. So I do want to encourage all of our listeners to go ahead and look at page, well, not tonight. It's not like you have your hymnals or anything, but page 36 is where it starts. And it's very supportive information to tonight's show. But of course, another plug for the IHA Journal, which may be taking a different form, but we're going to continue to get this amazing content for relationship-based horsemanship and continue to find a way to do it, on behalf of our members and then just on behalf of Horsekind. And so do we have any, let me see, do we have any questions? It was, Nancy.
I do have a little more. It's not necessarily just strictly breath work, but I've got a short, I can make it about 10 minutes seated yoga exploration if we want to. And I've got a list of resources if people want
Yes,
to do more.
absolutely. So tell you what, let's bring back up that slide that you offered us, and then let's do the extra 10 minutes of things, because we do have time. And then the resources are going to be huge. I've already seen that slide. I know that's important. So, the comments are coming in great. Nancy Koser says, thank you, sir. It's beautiful. Love this. And it's certainly given me some ideas. Sue Town says, this is such a beautiful way to tap into my energy focus with my horses. Thank you for opening this avenue. And I understand it was Sue that opened the avenue for you to meet Farah. Isn't that correct?
It is. That is correct.
Hey, Farah, are you on the call? I mean, I didn't check in with her because I know she may be driving somewhere, but I always like to ask Farah to come on to the call and say something, especially when they're as close to you. And so, Farah, if you happen to be out there, just let us know. And if you want to step in, but she was also driving. It could be she's on the road.
Yeah, she told me she'd be in and out of service.
Okay, wonderful. So do you want to bring the slides back up? I think you just have to go ahead and share screen. You're still host. There you go.
Okay. Another beautiful moment here on the right. This is Verona and Mystery, and they've got a really wonderful relationship. And Verona's been learning how to use some of the tools of yoga to just expand her skill set. And here I've got a few ideas for our quick yoga practice this evening. I'm going to start with what I call a body scan, and this is something I teach all of my students on the ground and on horseback. And we're going to start with our feet, wiggling our toes, spreading the toes, releasing the toes back down one at a time, exploring the contact the feet have with the ground, finding what we call the inner and outer corners of the feet in yoga, the inner and outer balls of the feet, and the inner and outer heels. Just moving the feet forward and back, side to side, to find what we call equal standing, in this case sitting, but finding equal contact, equal weight in the feet. Moving up the body, squeeze and release the calves. Squeeze and releasing.
Yep. Get my calves. Yeah.
Bringing awareness to places in the body where you may not have a lot of daily awareness.
Oh, yeah.
Bringing the awareness up the legs, squeezing the quads and hamstrings and releasing, squeezing and releasing. And now we're moving up into the torso, and we're going to activate the pelvic floor. And this is one of the ones that's fun to teach kids, because I tell people don't pee your pants. It's the best way to activate those muscles, right? And it might be something we haven't brought a lot of awareness and attention to in a long time. So go ahead and activate your pelvic floor. And in yoga, this is actually called an energy lock. And you can almost imagine the energy running up the length of the spine through the torso, lifting the pelvic floor and not allowing your energy to spill out and away from you. So activate the pelvic floor, don't pee your pants. Let's go ahead and move up.
Can you help me a little bit? I missed how do I activate the pelvis floor, you said?
Imagine that you have to pee and there's somebody in the bathroom ahead of you.
Okay. Now I got you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Don't pee your pants. That's
right. But don't. Yeah, I got it.
And I always tell my kids, my youth students, you know that feeling when you really got to pee and your sister's in the bathroom? Don't pee your pants. Okay. So don't pee your pants. And then we're going to move up and activate our core muscles next. And this is our deep core. I think a lot of people think core muscles and think like six-pack abs. True core strength comes from the activation, the isometric activation of your deep core, your inner corset, against those abs on the outside and obliques, your outer corset. And your body, by isometrically contracting those two sets of muscles, actually can make almost a wall of muscle. And your body knows how to do this. So let's go ahead and put your one hand on your belly and one hand on your low back. You might even put your hand inside your jeans so you can really feel just above your sacrum, and then go ahead and clear your throat. And you should feel a little flutter of movement there on your back, just at the low lumbar spine. And what you're feeling is where the low bowl of muscles called the transverse abdominis that really holds your guts ties into the lower lumbar spine. And this bowl of muscle activating against the abs and obliques on the outside is what gives us true core support. So let's do that one more time. Close your eyes if you want to. And clear your throat. Feel the muscles activating under your hands, on your belly, and along your spine and your low back. So anybody that's old enough to remember those clown doll toys that had the sand in the bottom, right? And
Yes.
And they come back up every time. Right.
Yeah,
so
the punching. Yeah.
That's how we want to be as riders, right? If your horse spooks and lurches to the side, you want to come back up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you have that deep base of support activated, that low lumbar spine supported, we are so much more steady as riders, so much more anchored into the movement of our horses. And so I invite all of you to play with this activation. In the car is a great time to play with these muscles. When you're driving, everybody knows that kind of feeling of like laid back driving, and you kind of just the outside of the turn. And then if you activate these muscles and try it, you'll feel like a race car driver. You will feel that you can support yourself and ride the movement of the turn. And the car is just a lot easier and more predictable maybe in its movement than a horse, but it's a great time to practice this and use the throat clearing until it becomes second nature, until you can activate these muscles simply with the muscle memory and the awareness. So
I love it. One of the things we talk about is an independent seat, and that those of us that can develop an independent seat are just going to have an easier time riding. And it sounds to me like this is a applied way to improve your independent seat. Isn't that fair to say?
Absolutely. Stabilizing and supporting the torso and anchoring you in to your seat, in a way that allows you to move your aids independently, allows you to use your legs independently, use your hands, whatever, if you're roping or, and you stay so energized and connected at that deep level, low in your body. It really does give you security and allows you to be an effective rider.
That's awesome. So, did you want to show us your? Well, anyway, you go ahead. What would you like to do next? Because you were going to show.
We've got to work our way up to the last part of the body. Let's go ahead and bring our awareness to our shoulders, squeezing the shoulders up to the ears. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Pressing the shoulders back and allowing them to slide down. One more time, squeezing up, back, and down. This time, activating the muscles between the shoulder blades, squeezing them together. Feel the way you can squeeze and activate the mid-back and linking that deep base of support we've created to the upper torso. One more time with the awareness, shoulders up, back, and down. And again, take this with you in your riding. So we're going to start at the bottom of the body, wiggling the toes, bringing awareness up through our legs, activating the pelvic floor. Don't pee your pants. Turn on that deep core, clear your throat, and then go through your shoulder roll and squeeze that pencil. And if you practice this a few times on the ground and on your horse, you'll start to have that full body awareness, that presence, embodied presence that we're all looking for in our horsemanship.
Well, and Sarah can comment right now. I'm more aware of my feet than I've been in years. I'm literally, as we're going through that, I'm actually feeling different parts of my body independently as well as together. So that's very powerful.
Yeah. And that's a really good way of putting it, because we do need that focused awareness and the ability to know what is my right calf doing. And yet that whole body awareness, the ability to use the left rein while feeling the whole body, right?
Absolutely. It's great. Now, this is your recommended resources. I know this is very powerful, and we'll make sure that on the video, it's easily for somebody to stop it and look at it. but anybody wants to grab a screenshot, go
Yeah,
ahead
I'll
and do
do
that.
it real quickly. The Yoga with Adrienne YouTube channel is just one of the best resources I have found. I live in a pretty remote part of the world. This gal is a wonderful teacher. She teaches to all levels. She has foundations videos, short videos, long videos, videos you can do in bed. She's awesome. Here's a nice book on breath work, a couple of books on biomechanics for the rider, a pretty academic one for the good of the rider, and then Sally Swift's Centered Riding is a wonderful resource. I just listened to this audiobook, a yoga workshop, and again, it just provides a couple of nice practices to get you started. Anybody who wants to contact me personally, here's my email. We do have the Flat Broke website up, and it is mindfulhorsemanship.com.
Oh, great. You got it up. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you, Alana. She worked her butt off.
Wonderful. Yeah, they were just showing me some of the website things. Oh, there is it. This is from the site, right?
These are our spring and clinic
Oh, got it. Yeah.
spring and fall clinic flyers. Just thought I'd put them up there and people can see what we're up to. We've got a bunch of exciting stuff coming up. These are on the website and on the Facebook page. And thank you to everybody that made this happen tonight. Special thanks to my sister-in-law, Lana, here in the corner with me. She took almost all of the beautiful photos I used tonight and edited them all and helped me put this whole presentation together. And she's my media manager and she's awesome. So thanks, Alana, and thank you to everybody that's helped me along the way on this path. I am so grateful. Namaste.
Well, that's awesome. And now throughout the evening, we've been hitting the in the chat. Lisa from the International Horsemanship Association has been reminding us that you can join the IHA. There's on the website, it talks about how to join and what you get for the various levels of membership. Also tonight, if you're enjoying our event, please consider buying us a cup of coffee with the pledge. And I want to go back through. We talked about Sue and her great comment. Tierney just gave us a big red heart. Lori Welbig says, always enjoyed coaching and training with Sarah. Natalie says, thank you so much. I have to go, which is understandable. Lots of thank yous coming from people across, from Jeannie and Kristen and Ponpon. And so thank you so much. This is, remember, the revolution in horsemanship is a second sentence from the book by Dr. Robert Miller, and that's what it means to mankind. And so as we celebrate the revolution and those of us that want to participate in moving the revolution forward like you do, Sarah, you are moving the dial. And by being with us tonight, you are moving the dial. And of course, Jill's great idea of creating a class that can be taken on the academy, but what it means to mankind. And we're going to walk away with and be better humans as well as better with our horses. And I noticed that the better I am with my horse, the better I am with people. We talked about the fact that sometimes when we're under pressure and I might find myself becoming angry, which I do not want to lose my temper. It doesn't play well for what I'm trying to accomplish. And you've given us a tool tonight that we could call on, especially in the breathing exercises. And so, Sarah, thank you so much tonight. You really are making a contribution to the revolution in horsemanship and what it means to mankind. So on behalf of everybody on the call, we have people all across the continent. Tierney just said, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, sir, for all you do for horses and humans. I'm grateful to know you and be able to learn from you. Farah says, Sarah, it is such a joy to see how you are enjoying your life and sharing it deeply with your students, friends, horses, and fellow professionals, much deeper than when I first met you. She says, thank you for being so open and honest. And I did talk about that vulnerability, being vulnerable with us, being intentional with us, being authentic with us. That's very powerful, and we certainly appreciate that. And then Allie says, thank you so much to Sarah. I'm so excited to go ride tomorrow and use these tips. I've always enjoyed your coaching and teaching. Thank you so much. So on behalf of Sarah, do you have anything else you want to say before we say goodnight?
I guess I'd just like to invite everybody to close, with the namaste intention.
I love it. I love it. Let's do it.
Within me recognizes and honors the divinity within you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, everybody. And thank you especially to Sarah Barton our tonight. Thank you to all of the IHA leaders and volunteers who put so much effort into what we do. And to all of you across America, may the horse be with you. Good night, everybody.
2 hearts beating, 4 feet flying.